What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
I saw so much shit.
How old were you when you did this?
20 something. I feel like I mean for the shaman, for the most respected shaman in the region to go, fuck that. That was some heavy ayahuasca. That was a heavy trip. I'm still my dreams have never been the same. It's like since that time, there's certain times where all of a sudden I'll get like wormhole linked back to one of the places that I was. It's very strange.
What do you think that is?
I don't know, because when you start learning about ayahuasca and the probability that humans would discover the two compounds, the root and the vine, that work together to take you to that place, just the trial and error period, going through 1,500 species of trees and the thousands of vines and lianas and all the other orchids and bromeliads and chemical compounds that are contained in the Amazon. If you just, were to walk into the forest and say, well, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this, well, then you're probably going to die first. So that guy dies. How many years does it take before you get to the guy that figures out if you boil this and you skin this and you put it together? And that's why, if you go into indigenous medicine, they'll very quickly tell you this was a gift from the gods. They say, how else could we know about this? This was given to us to maintain our connection with the spirit world.
How much do you think... How do I want to ask this question? When it comes to some of the saps and some of the natural medicines that they're able to make out there, what percentage of it scientifically does solve whatever affliction they're going after it is, versus they also believe in it?
It depends what your sample size is. Because if your sample size is just everybody, like I've seen, so I feel like we come at things from a very clinical direction. If somebody tells me this will work, this will cure your cold, this will make you taller, it's like, okay, show me, show me, where are your studies? I want to see the data. And so with the jungle, when I got there and they were like, oh, this mushroom will cure an ear infection, I was like, yeah, okay. And I figured that a lot of it was the fact that they just believed in it. And what we found out once we started doing the work that we're doing now, like we bring Radford University to the Amazon, we can actually have medical students with petri dishes and microscopes test some of these tree saps. And we've put bacterial cultures into petri dishes. And we've seen that some of these saps murder infections. Like, it's not a joke. Like, these saps have saved my life multiple times. That picture, that picture where I'm all fucked up.
Yeah. We'll put that in the corner of the screen.
Like, that doesn't happen anymore because now we have access. We have that jungle knowledge. We know how to stop stuff like that. So no, there's a lot of stuff where there's an element of what we would call bullshit, where you kind of have to believe in it for it to work. There's plenty of that out there. But the pharmacology of the Amazon contains some of the most powerful compounds on Earth, medicinal compounds that are contained in the plants. And that's according to Western medicine. That's not a joke. That you don't have to, it doesn't matter if you believe in it. Like, certain saps will do what they say. They will accomplish. Like, there's a root called barbasco, and we've all heard of this, but you can take in a stream, you can crush up this root, throw it into a pool in the stream, and you just put a stick on one side and you put a stick on the other side. You kind of slow down the stream. What happens is all the fish that are in that particular section of the stream will float up to the surface. You pick which ones you want. We want the wasako, we want the catfish. We take those, throw them in the bag. We're going to eat those for lunch. And then you remove the sticks and you remove the barbasco, and the barbasco will stop poisoning the water. The fish will eventually reoxygenate their lungs and nobody dies.
Whoa.
Yeah. So humans figured that out somehow. That's indigenous knowledge, and that's something you can't fake it.
Yeah.
So if they said, oh, this works, it's like, well, it either does or it doesn't. You can't make fish float to the water without some pretty serious chemical compounds.
It feels like there's almost these hacks, like these nature hacks according to species, where you could almost... Like the story of JJ showing you how to catch a crocodile for the first time, where they like stick the, I guess, like the bamboo down, and suddenly it wraps itself around it and comes up. There's something to that. Like, why does the crocodile respond to that and another species doesn't?
Oh, I mean, if you go species to species, there's all kinds of interesting stuff like that. Right now I'm reading this book I think it's called Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are? It's by Franz de Waal. It's an incredible book. And it's all about how human studies of animal intelligence can just repeatedly fall short, where it's our intellectual limits that are prohibiting us from understanding the depth of intelligence of animals.
How do they argue that?
Oh, the guy does it for hundreds of pages. It's incredible. You feel like a moron by the end of the book. But
what's some of the main takeaways?
Simple stuff. Like they'll say, okay, are animals self-aware? So they'll take a mirror and they'll stick it in front of an animal, and they'll say, does the animal touch itself? Well, most animals don't care. You know, like a bear is going to react to a mirror. A bear is going to see another bear, and it's either going to fight or flight. It's either going to run away or it's going to fight the bear. Our cats and dogs, which are domesticated animals, so this is different, but they've learned to not really care about mirrors so much.
Golden retrievers do.
If you have a puppy, they'll growl at it, but then after a day, they're like, they don't care. They learn very quickly. Now, what they did, I think it was in the Bronx Zoo, they painted an X on one of the elephants' foreheads, and instantly. She looked, and she went like this. So she knew it was her.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so they've done this with a bunch of animals. And I think that there's some species of magpies that recognize themselves, some of the greater apes, gorillas, chimps, bonobos, like those things. It's very, very small. Dolphins also pass the test.
Dolphins are smart as fuck, yeah.
But again, it's so often like, is knowing yourself in a mirror, is a mirror a natural, you know what I mean? Like, oh, the other thing the elephant did that was really cool is that the elephant opened her mouth. Think about it. You've never seen the inside of your mouth with your own eyes. You can't. And the first thing she did was try to get a look inside of her mouth. She was trying to, I was like, whoa, you really get this mirror. But there's just study after study where I can't recall them like that, but it's like he has all these examples where researchers, gave the monkeys this, and then you go, yeah, but the monkeys compared to the kids, and then they'd be like, yeah, but the monkeys are in like a sterile clinical environment where their neck is in a piece of plastic, and they're terrified and harassed, and they're dealing with a member of another species, humans, administering a test. And then you have human kids, and the human kids, and they're like, all right, listen, Timmy, can you put the pencil through the hole? And he's like, yeah, duh. Like, well, in order to replicate that test, well, then you need to have a monkey that's raised by people, very calm, in control, that you can communicate with. So like these things where they realize like you can't just put them in a sterile environment. If you put me in a white, research environment and shine some bright lights at me and told me to do math problems, you would think I was half dead. I mean, it's like taking a cat and a fish and throwing them both in a pool and then being like, which one can swim? It's like, it doesn't match up.
Are we going to be able to do some sort of scientific experiments? Maybe we already can at this point, but at least in the near future, though, where maybe you chip an animal in the wild, and then that chip that they don't notice just measures their brain activity and how it is, what it responds to.
What it responds to, I think they do a lot of that. I mean, with rats, I mean, they have, the rats.
Exactly, but that's
the rats dream about tomorrow,
right,
or the things they're scared of.
right.
I think they recently said the dogs dream of things they're excited for. But when it comes to intelligence, it's so fascinating because we really don't have any way of knowing. It's very, very difficult to penetrate. One of the stories they told was that they hung something from a tree, and then they put sticks on the ground. And so like human kids were able to go and take the sticks and then knock the treat out of the tree. And then they gave the sticks to the elephants, and the elephants did not use it. But it was too tall for the elephants. So it's the same trick. They're supposed to use the sticks, but they didn't. But then they repeated the thing, but instead of giving them a stick, they gave them a box. And the elephants knew to move the box, stand on the box, they could get up higher. Elephants don't want to use their trunk to hold a stick. That's just not how they do things. That's not elephant intelligence. And so they're testing animals on human intelligence. Like for a while we thought that domesticated dogs, which is very not the case, were smarter than wolves.
Why did we think that?
Because the researchers had access to domesticated dogs, and domesticated dogs have learned, as you know, to watch exactly what we're doing. If they can't solve a problem, they turn around and they look at us.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't get it. I need help. They look at us for everything. Wolf, they encounter a problem. They don't give a shit what you're doing.
No.
Wolf is on a totally different
gotta
wavelength.
survive,
They're totally different. And so even there, who has access to wild wolves that have grown up problem solving in the true wild? It's like, how do you test that intelligence? So same thing goes for, elephants. Like the time that I've spent with wild elephants.
I'm so jealous of you for spending so much time with them. It's so cool.
I wish I could just like transport back to like 16-year-old me and be like, dude, it's just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah.
It's so, because usually when you see elephants, you pull up next to them in a truck and there's people taking pictures and the elephants are kind of, they're not thrilled about being watched, usually. Every now and then you get that one individual. When I'm out with Vetpaw, there's this one Dingane, his awesome, beautiful, huge elephant. He's one of, there's a problem happening right now where, I got to get this right or else people come after me. Poaching has brought down the size of African elephant tusks to the point that some African elephants don't even have tusks.
It's a huge genetic problem.
It's a huge genetic problem.
Century. Yeah.
An elephant without tusks is a huge problem. That's a terrible shame.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.